The New England Patriots are not done yet adding free agents, as they are now signing linebacker Jack Gibbens to a one-year deal. Gibbens is 26 years old, and he originally started his career with, of course, the Tennessee Titans back in 2022 as a part of their undrafted free agent class. Of course, this immediately goes back to the philosophy that we've been talking about with all of the Patriots free agents, at least for the most part, having connections back to the organization. Whether it's been Mike Vrabel, Josh McDaniels, Terrell Williams, other parts of the coaching staff, the Patriots are bringing in guys that they have familiarity with, and Jack Gibbens fits that exact mold. Now, according to Mass Live's Karen Garrigan, she reported that earlier today, the Patriots had brought him in for a visit. Kind of wanted to see from both sides, from his perspective, from their perspective, is this a guy that we want as a part of our organization? See if his medicals checked out. They felt like the interview went really well, and they ended up signing him and making sure he did not leave Gillette Stadium without a contract. The interesting part to this, though, is that according to ESPN's Mike Reese, he shared over this past weekend that Gibbens knew the New England Patriots had interest, but he was still considering if he wanted to make a visit to Gillette Stadium. So you're telling me you were an undrafted signing back in 2022. You're coming off of a serious ankle injury, and you weren't sure if you wanted to take a visit with the Patriots? My guy, you should be taking a visit with any team that offers you a visit. Now, Gibbens has made 20 starts since being a part of the Titans back in 2022, in which he has totaled 167 tackles. He set a career high of 95 as a sophomore in the NFL and had a one-handed interception. Along with that, he had 1.5 sacks, one of which was this past season that he split a sack with on Patriots quarterback Drake May. He's going to be someone that comes in and brings experience to the New England Patriots defense. He has a total of 1,078 snaps on the defensive side of the football and 466 snaps on the special team side of the football. So a guy that's going to play in multiple different areas for you. His snap counts year by year. 2022, he played 63% of the Titans' defensive snaps. In 2023, he played 66% of their defensive snaps. And then this past season looked like it was yet again going to be another career high for the third straight year, but ultimately ends up only playing 39% of their defensive snaps because he goes down with, again, like I alluded to, that big serious ankle injury that put him on the injured reserve back in November. Now, I also want to address one thing that I know the comment section is already rushing to say. Why don't we sign offense? What are we doing? Why are we continuing to add to the defensive side of the football? And here's what I have to say to that. Guys, if there were offensive players for the team to go out and sign, they would do so. You can only sign players that are available. So yes, the majority of their signings have been defensive signings. Do we understand that the defensive side of the football also needed a lot of help? Do we understand that early on in the Patriots' success, especially in 2025, the way they're going to succeed is going to be by having a stout defense, by the defense keeping them in games, keeping it a low-score game so that Drake May, this offense that is still finding their footing, that is still going to take another year or two to truly develop into being one of the better offenses in the league, they're now not going to have to necessarily do a whole lot because the defense, again, is going to keep it a low-scoring game. Right now, the team is strictly trying to go out and get players that are going to improve this roster. They're not simply saying, we need to go out and only get offense. We need to only go out and get defense. We need to only go out and get special teams. They're looking at this and saying, if there is a good player that fits our system and upgrades our team, not one side of the football, but upgrades our team in general and moves the needle for us to win more games, that is a guy that we are going to bring in, and that's what this addition is. Now, despite having a loaded linebacker core right now, I actually really do like the addition of Gibbens. I think that he is a guy that has a lot of potential. I don't think all that potential has necessarily been tapped into. And now, again, he's coming to an organization like the Patriots who have Mike Vrabel, who have Terrell Williams, who have experience with Jack Gibbens, and they can get the ground running with the development that they originally started back in 2022. According to PFF, this past season, before he went down with that season-ending injury, he had an overall PFF grade of 83.2 that ranked 12th amongst a qualifying 189 linebackers, a pass rush grade of 65 that ranked 55th out of a qualifying 189 linebackers, and a very good run defensive grade of 79.9 that ranked 28th amongst a qualifying 189 linebackers, and a coverage grade of 75.7 that ranked 13th out of a qualifying 189 linebackers. So for the most part, this was a guy that I wouldn't say he was elite in any single metric, not in rushing the pass or stopping the run or in coverage, but he really wasn't pedestrian in any one of those categories either. He really was just a do-it-all linebacker who was average to maybe slightly above average. He had 24 solo tackles. He had 1 sack. He had 13 assisted tackles. He had 10 total stops, 4 missed tackles when quarterbacks targeted him. He allowed a passer rating of 86.1. That's lower than Patriots linebacker that they added earlier this offseason in Robert Spillane, excuse me. And then he also had 3 total pressures to go along with that. If you go back and you look at the Patriots game against the Titans this past season with Drake May, you will see this guy all over the field from a defensive standpoint. He made his name heard, and he was very, very impressive. Even going back and looking at some of his other film from when he played a few other teams, he's someone who's always around the ball. He has really good awareness. He's very patient. He waits for the ball carrier to come to him, but he's a sure tackler. I think he's best in stopping the run. I think that's what the Patriots are getting here. But again, a short tackler that's always going to be around the ball, and he's going to make sure that he stops the guy square in his tracks when he comes directly at him. Now, in 2023, he had an overall PFF grade of 71.2 that ranked 53rd out of a qualifying 179 linebackers. He had a pass rush grade of 77.4 that ranked 17th out of a qualifying 179 linebackers. A run defensive grade of 72.9 that ranked 42 out of a qualifying 179 linebackers. And a coverage grade of 61.3 that ranked 81st out of a qualifying 179 linebackers. He also had 70 solo tackles, 1 sack, and 25 assisted tackles. He had 37 total stops, 7 missed tackles. When quarterbacks targeted him, he allowed a passer rating of 94.1 and also had 8 total pressures. I think that this is also a guy that fits that perfect mold, that perfect linebacker mold that Mike Vrabel and Terrell Williams want. A guy who they don't necessarily care how good or bad he is in coverage because they're not going to ask him to do that, but they care about his ability to stop the run, his ability to shoot the gaps, set the edge, and put pressure on the quarterback when they ask him to do so. Now, like I alluded to earlier, with this move, the Patriots do have a loaded linebacker core, and not all of these guys are going to make the final roster. I will say, too, with the addition of Gibbens, he is not a lock. This is not a Robert Spillane edition where Robert Spillane is like your number 1 linebacker, number 2 linebacker at worst moving forward as a big part to your future. Gibbens is a guy that is going to have to compete for a roster spot. Again, coming off of that season-ending injury, is he someone that's going to make sense in this defensive system? I think that there is going to be a true battle come training camp. And I think the guys who will ultimately perform the best, they're going to make the final roster. And the guys who are on the outside looking in, they're going to get traded. Jelani Tavai could be traded. If Gibbons shows off well enough, but they don't have enough room for him on the roster, maybe he's somebody that get traded. But you look at it right now, you look at their depth chart. Jawan Bentley, I feel pretty good about him making the roster. Robert Spillane, you know that he's making the roster. Jelani Tavai and I would say Gibbons are both guys who could be competing in making that final linebacker spot. Christian Ellis, some interesting facts here. According to Tom Pelissero, the Raiders have signed Patriots RFA Christian Ellis to an offer sheet. Now, because the Patriots did sign him as an RFA, the Patriots can match any offer that Christian Ellis is given. If they match the offer, he stays with the Patriots. If they don't match the offer, he's now a Raider. Given the move that the Patriots just made with Gibbons, I do not think that Christian Ellis is back. So that's 1 linebacker you're now taking off the board. Overall, I really do like the addition. I don't think the Patriots are playing with fire here. It's a 1-year deal. I would assume that when the terms come out, we'll see that they can get out of this during roster cutdowns, during training camp, if things really are not working out. But this is a guy they have experience with, a guy that is the perfect mold of linebacker. He can get to the quarterback. He's good at stopping the run. He has a high football IQ. He has very good awareness. He's still young, and he has a lot of time to develop, and he has shown that he can be a very good linebacker in this league. So this is where I kick it off to you guys. What are your thoughts about the addition of Jack Gibbens on a one-year deal? Let me know in the comment section below. Remember to leave a big like on the video, and of course, subscribe to the channel for all your New England Patriots news. But as always, appreciate you guys so much for watching, and go Pats.